Here's something kind of neat, I guess. With Phoenix's change to Supernova, having your abilities refresh on cast rather than 6 seconds later when the egg explodes, you get absolutely nothing. This changes nothing. Sure, with eggs it means you can cast Sunray in Supernova because the new eggs gives you the ability to cast Sunray. But a lot of you already know my thoughts on shitty eggs on Phoenix, and the rest of you, I mean, you could probably intuit what my thoughts are. In fact, I think this might actually be worse for Phoenix. Because of Sunray being castable in Ags' egg, and because of the ability refresh happening at the start rather than the end, yeah, if you were to use Sunray while in Supernova, you'd actually not have it anymore by the time you finish the Supernova, which is kind of one of the reasons that you do a Supernova. I mean, I will acquiesce that the change does benefit people who are shitty at Phoenix, but I'm not happy about it. So in the old days, if you were to chuck out all of your spells, cast Supernova, and then die before it ends, it would be completely pointless buying back, as literally every single one of your spells would be on cooldown on account of the egg not finishing and refreshing them all. This change now means that that won't happen anymore. That's good. Except a good Phoenix will never have an egg die on them, you know? If you've ever seen footage of me dying in an egg, well, it was intentional. Yeah, let's go with that. Now, Pugna is an interesting specimen. While most heroes who got a base mana regen bonus only got something around 0.25, Pugna got a whole 0.5. That's nearly the amount a Sage's Mask gives. Wowie! I feel weird bringing up the fact that this is Pugna that got this. Pugna, of all heroes! Pugna is a guy who has a whopping, chart-topping, anti-mage, heart-stopping 5.2 int gain per level. That's an unfathomable amount when you compare it to the average hero who gets like 1.9 int per level. He already gets plenty of int. If anything, because he gets so much int and already starts with so much int, the base mana regen of 0.5 is actually worse on him than it would be on your Weavers or Trolls or other low mana heroes. It's a static amount, right? It's not a percentage anymore. If you have like 10,000 mana, it'll take 20,000 seconds to regen it all. That's 333 minutes. That's 5.5 hours. I ask, again, why is this even a thing that's been added to the game? But unless you come out and out yourself, I'm going to assume none of you are Ice Frog, so I guess these questions are pointless. I'm sort of just yelling the questions into the wind, so let's move on. Ricky is enjoying himself this patch. The dude got a crazy large buff indirectly from the Sentry Ward nerfs, and if that wasn't enough, he's even been given a bit of extra base damage. But ignoring all that, you could actually make a pretty good argument for the viability of this new build. With Observer Wards being cheap, but very, very valuable, and Sentry Wards being limited, and Ricky being a perfect hero for scouting, Ricky could legitimately be played as a ward-hunting huckster. Pick up your own sentries, or gem, get a Quelling Blade and go looking for wards. Honestly, after just killing one Observer Ward or Sentry Ward and getting the gold and XP, the toolkit for dewarding is already paid for. You don't even need to lose out on money with this. Sentries are cheaper, sentries are less needed to deal with invis on their team due to, most games with a Ricky not having a Ricky also on the enemy team. And because you exist in the game where you are, the enemy team will absolutely not be able to keep up with your dewarding. Where you can buy 10 sentries and deward an entire half of the map, the enemy can only spare 3 to 4 sentries in retaliation, because they have to keep some for you. You are an invis hero. You are Ricky. And that's the beauty of the strategy, right? You're pushing the enemy into one of two awful situations. And that's perfect. Either A, they don't counter your dewarding and you own the entire map because, they had to save sentry wards, or B, they don't save any sentry wards, counter all of your dewarding efforts, and then die anyway because they don't have any detection for you. While only directly getting a +3 base attack damage buff in 722, Ricky indirectly shot up to one of the best heroes in the game. Funny that. Rubik is also one of the best heroes in the game, and he got an arguably more pitiful direct update. He got an agi gain. Oh my god. Every 25 levels he gets 1 extra armor. Wow. I mean, oh yeah, it turns out you can only reach level 25 once, so that's pretty much it. At the end of a game, when you're wrapping up, you will have 1 more armor with which to wrap up. Sure, it helps with attack speed, I guess, in the meantime, but I can't for the life of me figure out why he'd buff Rubik's attack speed. Does Ice Frog have something planned? Does Ice Frog know something that we don't? Well, anyway, ignoring that, Rubik pretty much got nothing directly, and yet you'd be hard-pressed to say that there was a hero that came out of 722 better off than him. Rubik is loving 722, and it makes sense, right? I mean, he's loving 722 because now every single person has an AGS upgrade. Literally everyone. I mean, obviously some of them are not the best, Lycan comes to mind, but it's now completely impossible to buy an AGS and not have a target for spell steal. Because a lot of these AGS upgrades are new and niche, a lot of heroes themselves won't actually be getting AGS. Rubik picking up an AGS means that he will be getting these spells and their AGS bonuses. And he's also got Arcane Supremacy, which doubles up on the usefulness. Rubik will have Dragon Knight's 4th level in Dragon Form. Rubik will have Klink's Skeleton Walk army. The absolute creme de la creme would be if Rubik could even steal Morphling's Morph. Unfortunately, he can't. That Scepter upgrade is the one where, while morphed, you get a plus 35% cooldown reduction on any spell, a plus 50% mana cast reduction, and extra cast range. But thankfully, Icefrog went ahead and disabled that. I mean, thank God, right? But absolutely everything else is up for grabs. An AGS upgrade patch will always be a Rubik patch. After Rubik, though, is there anyone that could hold a candle? Spoiler alert, no, but, I mean, we're going alphabetically, so the momentum sort of goes up and down. We'll keep going till we make it to the end. Next up is Shadow Demon. He's pretty good, I guess. Okay, moving on. Next up after Shadow Demon is Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend is one of the heroes that might actually benefit from the AGS consumable that Roche drops. He's in that small subsection of heroes that can both kill Roshan at minute 10 and beyond solo, and is also the type of hero who absolutely doesn't need an AGS and can actually totally roll with getting one after 30 whole minutes of buying other stuff. He doesn't usually need the stats directly, so he's not going to miss them when they're gone, and he both benefits from the Soul's increase portion and the ultimate giving heals portion. That's what his AGS does, right? It does two things. Now, no matter how you play him, Shadow Fiend benefits from AGS. If you're playing him as a position 1 hard carry killer with no regard for any of that magic damage bullshit, but who is totally all about stacking 15 rapiers on top of each other, you benefit from the increase in damage. I mean, it is damage. His AGS gives the opportunity of 10 extra souls, up to a grand total of 46. If you plan ahead and prioritize the attack damage bonus per soul talent that you get at level 20, you can convert what could have been just like a simple 72 damage necromastery into something that gets up to, I guess, upwards of 184 damage. And that's something that you can get without it taking up an item slot. It is ostensibly a free extra 184 damage to do with it what you will. And if you couldn't care less about the carry stuff and somehow ended up in a position where you're playing position 5 support Shadow Fiend, the AGS consumable still works. It gives you a free source of self-heal as well as a hugely increased level of damage. With 46 souls and no other items, your Requiem of Souls can end up dealing a potential, 5,152 damage, as well as the movement speed slow, which it always has, as well as a 50% damage reduction, as well as a heal, and a massive AoE, and all with absolutely no need for anything but AGS. And not even that anymore, just the AGS consumable that Roche drops. You could do that with absolutely no items. But I really hope you've got an item by 30 minutes in. So I guess with all that said, we kind of know what we must talk about next, am I right? Let's kill Roshan as Shadow Fiend. Okay, it's actually pretty fun, and you can do it without taking a single hit of damage if you're clever. Here, I'll show you. There's the easy way that requires a bit of luck with the rune spawns, or the traditional way that takes a little longer and has a smaller window of error. So here, first off, buy a smoke. This isn't a requirement, but it'll make your life so much easier and won't aggro Roshan. What the strategy entails is constantly spamming Shadow Ray stacks and attempting to stack 10 or so of them in order to bring Roshan down without throwing out a single auto attack. If you Shadow Rays out of smoke, Roshan doesn't aggro, doesn't move, and doesn't mess up your positioning. And because Roshan is such a chunky boy, it is entirely possible to click on a very specific spot in the Roche pit where all 3 of your raises clip him without you even needing to move once. It's beautiful. If you can manage to line up your middle Shadow Rays, the one that's on your W key, with the heel of Roshan's foot, then every single one of the Shadow Rays will clip him. It's tight and might require a bit of trial and error in it, like a practice server, so you can sort of get the perspective and depth right. But because there's a smoke active, and because Roshan stands still, you only need to get it right once. And then you just spread your Rays casts out every 3 or so seconds, so you've got a good steady supply of them. The reason for this is that the stack duration lasts 8 seconds, and the cooldown of rays lasts for 10. So if you miss one of them and don't have another one coming in 3 seconds, you're pretty much screwed. But of course that all changes if you just pick up an arcane rune. God, dude, if you have an arcane rune right now, for some reason, while you're watching this video, just go Roche. Just immediately go Roche. It's fast, it's easy. If you're the average Shadow Fiend player, you would have definitely put that rune in a bottle, right? Because you bought a bottle because you're a Shadow Fiend going mid. That's pretty normal. So you even have time to prepare for the Roche, because obviously it's not going to be used right now. Fairy out of smoke real quick, maybe get a few mangoes and go at it. You can pretty much kill Roshan at any point with an arcane, and then by the time the next one's up, you'll have enough physical damage to just kill it solo anyway. Because did you forget? Yeah, you're also still playing Shadow Fiend. He does a bit of damage. In fact, if the stars align and you end up with an insanely magic amplification based lineup on your team, other than the fact that it's an awful lineup, you're probably good. It can consist of Shadow Fiend, Bloodseeker Pugna, Ancient Apparition, and Skywrath Mage. And then if you all buy a shit ton of Clarities, and you smoke, and you give up any of the starting runes, you can absolutely take Roshan with this. It's just, it takes about 23 consecutive raises and about 72 seconds of your time. And you can't screw up once. But if you're like me and demonstrating this in a custom lobby with bots in order to get the footage you need, you can just enable cheats, turn on what the fuck mode, and then just do it in a second. But I feel like that feature's probably not going to make the jump to ranked games anytime soon. So you're pretty much screwed.